Okay, so before getting into the details of the academic organization of the master, since you already saw a lot of details of the general for the UPC, and since you are telecommunication engineers, I will try to explain you in 5 minutes why a master in photonics for telecommunication engineers, why it's interesting and why this area is getting more and more interest in both in science and in technology. So optics and photonics is a traditional area of science since very long time ago, but in the last years it evolves very, very fast, and it's more and more present practically in all the technological process that we can imagine nowadays. So just a few subjects covered by photonics, which is a very interdisciplinary subject. Nowadays, it's not anymore related only with imaging or cameras, but it's present not only in classical optics, as it was known since 10 years ago, maybe, not more, but it becomes more and more present in quantum optics and technology and imaging and vision, photoemitters, detectors and lasers, which are present all over nowadays, integrated photonics, communication, sensors, remote sensing, of course, material analysis, material processing for the industry, new and smart materials and devices, energy environment, biophotonics, and so on. So I just put a short list to make you conscious that nowadays, if you go to any industrial and any engineering technology, you will find lasers, you will find sensors, you will find remote control, you will find optical transmission of data, etc., etc. So it becomes evident that the engineers are more and more welcome to this kind of programs, because you know a lot about telecommunications, you know a lot about electronics. Engineers coming from industrial engineering wings of the Polytechnic University knows a lot about engineers. But if you want to apply all this knowledge in the photonics field, you have to know a lot about photonics. So it's not one thing or the other, it's everything together. Because as Isidro said, you have a mobile phone in the pocket, and all these knowledges are needed to make any small modification that you would like to do in this device. Okay? So from my point of view, those of you who are willing to make the Master in Photonics is not changing your subject, not changing your knowledge, but choose one of the direction in which you can focus your career in the future and get more knowledge about devices that you already know from the electronic or telecommunication point of view. At the worldwide level, the 21st century is very, very focused on photonics. As you can see, only since the beginning of the new century, 5 Nobel Prizes in physics were dedicated to photonics, and 2 Nobel Prizes in chemistry are related to photonics. In 2010, so not long time ago, just 6 years ago, the European community selects photonics as one of the 5 key enable technology subjects. It means that the European community gives support and money into the projects that involves photonics. In 2013, in the United States, it was set the National Photonic Initiative, more of with the same goal to support photonics initiatives in all the areas where photonics can be applied. And last year, China becomes more and more active in all the technological systems. It holds the laser world of photonics, and it's more and more active in photonics. Last year, actually, it was the International Year of Light, and a lot of events stressed the importance of photonics in all the areas. If you take just the covers of the most known reviews in photonics, you will see that and I have selected only few of these covers more related with telecommunications. You see that photonics is present in the undersea communication. The laser beam technology makes materials to be lighter. The quantum telecommunication, quantum computation, and quantum transmission of the information becomes more and more real. So it's not anymore only part of the theoretical physics and photonics, but already we can write quantum circuits and we can test them in the lab and in the industry. The lasers are used not only for transmitting information, but also to analyze it. So we have a lot of information coming from all over, and in this case from another planet, reached by the lasers. Here, closer, I just have selected few pages of the newspapers with inventions coming from, this is the Photonic Institute of Technology, this is the Sensor Center from Terrassa, and this is also, once again, the Institute of Photonics, who they develop a lot of sensors, biosensors, that are able to give more and more information for medicine, for biomedicine, and so on. Once again, two covers of the paper of Optics and Photonics News. This review resume the most important subjects in photonics every year. So you can see this year, March 2016, optical fiber communication, space-based laser communication, virtual reality, which is once again another application of nowadays, and of course the lightning. And we could continue like this with a lot of examples. I'm not going to stress this anymore, but just to give you an idea why photonics and why engineers in photonics. So taking into account this evolution of the subject in 2007, so 9 years ago, all the universities in the area of Barcelona working in photonics decided to offer a joint program with the maximum, I don't want to call them specializations because this master is short, it's for 1 year, I will show you now. You will not be specialist in one branch of photonics. But we wanted to give the students the maximum of ideas about what you can do in the future with photonics, and attract students with very different backgrounds. I think this is very good for the evolution of the ideas. And the three public universities, UPC, we coordinate the program, but then the Autònoma University and the University of Barcelona, together with the Institute of Photonic Science, which is an institute that was born under the UPC cover. Now it's independent and it's one of the best institutes in Europe working in photonic. We put together all the researchers and all the specialists in photonics to offer a 60-degree master in English, of course, that would orient the people in all the branches of photonics. Okay? The master, keep in mind both outputs, so it is addressed in the same way to the students who wants to continue their career in research, and to the students that we would like to work in the future in a company. So we keep in mind both ways, let's say, and it's just up to you to choose one or the other. We offer a lot of, a large number of areas in photonics, as you will see in the future. More than this, in 2010, so only 6 years ago, we have joined an European master program coordinated by the university in Marseille, in France. This is a 2-year master program, and it's a common degree with the University of Marseille, Karlsruhe Institute of Technology, and us. So the students are going back and forth between these three institutions in a special mobility scheme, and at the end they will end up with a French degree, a German degree, and a Spanish degree. Okay? This is also a possibility. I will not talk too much about this program, but if you are interested in, you can also apply to this program. This is a 2-year program, 120 degrees, and you have to spend the first year in France, first and second semester. The third semester and the fourth one, you can choose between the 3 institutions. So you can come back to Barcelona, for example, for the third semester to make the several courses that I will explain you. Okay, so this is the webpage of the Europhotonic Master. In the case you are interested, we can discuss about this. Going back to our master, in this slide, I'm not pretending to explain all the expertise that we have in photonics in each of these institutions, just few research lines that you can follow at the end of my presentation. There is a slide with a web page of each research group in each institution, UPC, UAB, University of Barcelona, and Photonic Institute, where you can go one by one and see the research that all the groups are doing and how this is related with our master. This master is addressed in the same way as the previous ones to students with quite a broad background. The biggest number of students that we have comes from a bachelor in physics or physical engineering and telecommunication and electronics engineering. This is the majority of the students we have, but also students coming from the optics optometry or other bachelors related with nanoscience and nanotechnology. This year we have 4 students coming from this area, material science, industrial engineering, and so on are welcome, okay? The objectives of the master is, as I told you at the beginning, to be flexible enough and to give you the possibility to choose that subject that you would like more. So there are people coming into the master with a very clear idea, like in your case saying, no, I'm telecommunication engineering, so what I'm going to do is to take the branch of telecommunications. And they keep this idea until the end of the master. And there are people coming with an idea and ending up at the end of the master with a completely opposite one, okay? So we give you this flexibility to choose between all the courses we have in order to fulfill as close as possible your expectation about the master, and to choose what you want to do in the future, to continue in research or to go to a company. So the master is organized in 3 blocks, 20 credits of compulsory courses. As you can see, there are just few of them. We have only 60 credits in total, so we cannot, we need all the credits to make elective courses. So we have only 20 credits of compulsory courses, 24 credits of electives, and the master thesis that has only 16 credits, but this doesn't mean that you will work less than in the case of the MET or ME. The amount of work is equivalent to a master of 30 credits. The only thing is that we cannot afford to spend 30 credits for the master thesis. The compulsory courses are basically 2 courses that foresee the background, okay? These courses, if you have the curiosity, you can go on the webpage and see the description of the course. They have different modules, and depending on the background that you have, you can choose one module or the other to learn what you haven't stressed enough in the bachelor, and to avoid the parts that you did them in details in the bachelor. This is made because of this broad background of the students we have. And then compulsory module of applied photonics with photonics laboratory, and with a course that the students are very well evaluating in the last years, business and patents in photonics. This is something that we have to know if we are going to work in a company. So it's not business in general and patents in general. This course is given by professors working in photonics, one of them with a lot of experience in business because they created 5 or 6 spin-offs of UPC in the last year, and another one belongs to the school, is Carlos Puente, with a lot of experience in patents in photonics here in the telecommunications school. So I think it's one of the courses that you will take advantage about in the future. Then the elective courses are classified in 5, we call them teaching blocks. not specializations, because the degree at the end is just a master degree in photonics without any kind of specializations. There are not too many credits inside, as you can see. In each of these teaching blocks, we have 4 or 5 elective courses, okay? Here, there are the names of the courses. I'm not going to enter into detail. I just advise you, if you are interested, to take a look on the web page. For example, in the part of telecommunications and photonic crystals, we have 4 courses related to this subject. But this doesn't mean that if you want to follow the telecommunication area, let's say, you will be interested only in these courses, because all the materials and nanophotonics, all these blocks is also related with materials that later will be used, or phenomena that will be used in telecommunications. Also, the optical engineering module is very interesting for you, because you will learn a lot about sensors, about cameras, about imaging, and about how all these devices that you have studied, maybe from the electronic point of view or from the telecommunication point of view, how they really kept the information, how they transform this information from photonics to electronics to be transmitted later, and so on. So all these 3 blocks are very interesting for you, and you can freely choose elective courses between them, of course, with the advice of a tutor that it's assigned from the beginning. Then these 2 other blocks, the quantum block, maybe it's more specific only for the people who are really interested in quantum. Even like this, there are 2 subjects related with communication and computing in quantum, so this is also interesting for you. And then this is a block dedicated more to biophotonics and imaging, but I see that in the electronics master you also have a block related with biophotonics, so it's another way to focus to these subjects, which are very useful nowadays. Okay, this is for the 3rd module. You will choose the master thesis. You have a very huge offer. We have more than 50 proposals every year coming from these 4 institutions, but not only. There are a lot of other research institutions and companies around Barcelona that lately, in the last 2-3 years, they have contacted us and asked us if they can join the master offering master thesis proposals. So this year we have like 10 or 12, I think, they will be published soon in the web page, coming from outside of the master consortium. So this is another possibility, especially for those people who would like to continue their career in the company. So it's a way of getting there and get in touch with the company and see if you like it or not. And in the previous year, most of the students doing this kind of master thesis, they just were employed in the company afterwards. Okay, here I just, since it's a lot of amount of information, I just put you the web pages of all these groups, so you can take a look to see what the people are doing. A part of the proposals that we are usually post on the web at the end of November, we also accept any proposal from your part. For example, if you get in contact with a particular research group, with a particular professor, with a particular company, and you want to work in a particular subject, you just have to tell me, and we analyze if this proposal is at the level of the others, and we can perfectly accept it. Okay? As a special pedagogical feature, I would stress these transversal or complementary skills that are part of the Business and Patents and Photonics course that I already commented you. We organize also, this is not curricular, it's optional, but normally all the students follow these sessions of oral and written expression in English related with photonics and related with science, of course. It's given by a professor from the language school of the University of Barcelona, who's a specialist in the field, and I think it helps you a lot to prepare the future. We organize, if you take a look to the timetable, I'm not going to explain it because it's quite complicated. We are organized in 3 different blocks. At the end, so the courses are concentrated in 6 weeks of teaching. After 6 weeks of teaching, you have 1 week of exams, and then you have 1 activity weeks after the exam. So out of the curricular activities of the course, we organize a lot of different things, visits to labs or company presentation, workshops of simulation in a particular subject, experiments, and so on. We invite a lot of visiting professors. We have every year like 10, 12, 15 seminars organized sometimes within a particular subject or general for all of you, but these seminars are open for all the students. And we recommend you to go even if you don't follow that subject, because you can get a clear idea about what the people are doing in photonics, okay? In the last years, we have received a lot of PhD advertisements and also job advertisements from company. We are members of the network Southern European Cluster on Optics in Photonics. It's a cluster where all the companies in Spain working in photonics belongs to, and not only, also now there are companies from France and from Portugal joining this network. We are official members, so if you are students of the master, you are also official members of this cluster, and you can contact them and you can receive information about the job advertisements that appears on the cluster at that time. Last year we have received a huge number of advertisements. We didn't have enough students to cover the advertisement. We had both for PhD grants as well as for jobs in companies. The number of students in the master increased in the last years, and this is a tendency which is not only here in Spain. Talking with my colleagues in France and in Germany, there is also an increase in the last 2-3 years, increase the number of students in photonics coming from all the branches of engineers. I think this is because it's obvious that it's easier to find a job if you have expertise in this way. The master is very international, as you can see. We have this year, for example, we have 28 students that enrolled our master of 1 year, but then we have 5 students coming from the Europhotonics program, so they come here to make the 3rd semester. They come here to make only the elective courses, and they choose the same elective courses as you. I mean, we do not have special courses for the Europhotonics master and for our master. There are the same electives. They come here, they choose 30 credits of electives, and then these credits are recognized in France and in Germany, and they get the double degree. We also have a lot of Erasmus students coming in our master. The mobility is more incoming than outcoming. And this is because most of the masters in photonics in Europe are of 2 years, 120 credits. In this case, as you saw in the previous master, you can go to make 1 semester abroad. In our case, it's difficult because we have only 2 semesters. The first semester has a lot of compulsory courses, so you have to be here. And the second semester is divided in the middle. Half of the second semester, you still make elective courses, and then starting with April until June or September, you make your master thesis. So I think in your case, if you join the master in photonics of 1 year, the only possibility of mobility is to make the master thesis somewhere abroad, okay, and then come back and present it here. But we have a lot of students coming to our master from different masters in Europe. This year we have a lot of people. So at the end, there are 46 students with very different backgrounds, with very different nationalities, going together in the same program, which I think is very interesting for you. There are a lot of possibilities as career when you finish the master. At the beginning of the program, there were more than a half of the students making a PhD. Now it's not like this anymore. It's more or less half and half. Half of the people continue. Some of them with the same professors that made the master thesis. Some of them, they changed the subject, making a PhD in photonics, optics, physics, optical engineering, and so on. But the other half are joining companies, or they are decided to work. There are people that have very clear in mind that they will make their own company in photonics. So we start to see that these people had success, and they already have a very good working position. We keep tracking during the years where they are, and we saw that. We make statistics, and we saw that 95% of the students making the master, they found the job in the first 6 months, and they are continue working in photonics. So I think this is a good a good thing for the master. So this is everything I wanted to tell you. If you have any question, if not, you can always send me an email. And today is too much information. I think you have to let the information rest a little bit, and then the question will appear.